Thank you. We have Colin Stewart, Instructional Administrator with AVTEC with us today. Thank you, Colin. Please take it away.
All right. Just confirming you guys are seeing my slide and not my screen with a bunch of quotes for diesel equipment.
Correct. Yes. Thank you.
All right. So thanks for having me, guys. So Colin Stewart with AVTEC. Going to share a little bit about our apprenticeship unit and just general programming updates of what we have going on. There we go. A little background information about AVTEC is we are a division of the Department of Labor. AVTEC's been operating for over 50 years, and we've been accredited by the Council on Occupational Education for over 25 now. I think we're on year 27. And the reason that's important is that's what allows our students to access federal financial aid, as well as GI Bill and some other funding sources. So our students can go here the same way a student would go to like a traditional four-year college. Our programs are focused on cross-industry training needs. We really try to be reactive to what the industry says and stay proactive with having our advisory boards meet annually and keeping our training programs up to what the current industry needs dictate. So in our training programs, students are in a workplace simulation. Our instructors are often seen as, kind of the shop foreman or the manager, or the boss, if you will. Our training programs are 90 or 180 days. For the 180-day training programs like welding or diesel, those start every, I'm going to call it a semester. They're technically not, but we're familiar with that semester system, right? An August start and a January start. So we take a new welding class every August and then every January, and same with our diesel and heavy equipment class. And then some of our other programs have a 90-day program, and so they run just in the fall or they run just in the spring. So it's get in, get out, get to work. Our student completion rate is over 90%, and our, completion and employment rate. So this is the important things that the Council on Occupational Education sort of judges our success on, is how many students enter and complete your program, and then how many go to work in that field that you train them in. And we're happy to say we do really well with that. So one of the things that I've been in charge of since I started AVTEC a couple of years ago is building this apprenticeship expansion. So for many years, over 20, we've been doing what we call the related studies program, which is supporting RTI. So in the previous presenter was talking about across the state, there's many different examples of apprenticeship, and one was that single employer sponsor. So what John Hakala, if you guys are familiar with John, who used to do apprenticeship for the Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Labor, he used to call the mom and pop plumbing shops or mom and pop electrical shops, right? It's a single employer sponsor, Scott's Electrical Shop out in Soldotna, and they are really good at doing electrical work, and they are really good at training their apprentices, but they seek related technical instruction. So we provide that service, and we have provided that service, and it's via online correspondence. The students log into our learning management system. They take the coursework, they take the tests, and we're able to produce a transcript that they've completed that related technical instruction for each level or each year. And going back to like the previous presenter talked about, that minimum of 144 hours. All of our RTI programs that are available for those single employer sponsors online are all based through NCCR. So it's nationally recognized curriculum. And it's also easy to get a hold of their, books and other support materials. Just recently, just less than 2 years ago, we have become our own multi-employer sponsor, another version of sponsorship that the presenter was talking about. This is a non-union multi-employer sponsor. See someone that needs to be admitted. So we started one for IT. Looking at this program, we met with a bunch of different IT shops around the state, or IT sections of larger businesses, and worked on what they wanted to know about, or what they wanted to train for that entry to medium level IT support technician. And just as discussed again earlier, there is some work involved. It takes some time to develop, find what the needs are with your employer partners, put that into what they call an Appendix A, which is the RTI, what I'm going to learn, and the OJT, what I'm going to learn on the job, and develop that into a federally registered apprenticeship. So along with that, we're also in the development stages of a multi-employer sponsorship for building maintenance, as well as a little bit more of a back burner project, but a need that we've heard about from folks like the National Restaurant Association and Alaska Char is a culinary apprenticeship. So that's coming in the future as well. So the highlights of our IT apprenticeship, we're calling it a network support technician. It's available statewide. All of the training is done, via Zoom, but in a live class model. So you actually connect with your instructor, have a cohort. It's only a 1-year apprenticeship. As we know, the world of IT changes very quickly. So the competencies consistently need to be updated. So we don't want someone to be locked into a 4-year apprenticeship where it changes faster than I can complete my apprenticeship. So within 1 year, you go from, low skilled entry level or cross train, let's say out of maybe your admin support position into a network support technician. The competencies that you learn along the way, if anyone's familiar with IT, is CompTIA A+ and Network+. That's the coursework, that's the test they take, and that's also what the on-the-job training competencies are based upon. The related technical instruction again takes place live, but it only takes about 6 months within that year. And like I said, it's a 1-year apprenticeship, but it is competency based. So some might take a little longer, some might go a little bit quicker. There's about 60 competencies, and their journey worker or manager will sign them off as they go along. And again, as discussed, there's wage scale increases as they complete these competencies. And we are also, before I move on to my next apprenticeship opportunity, we are looking for more employer sponsors. We successfully brought on 3 employer partners last year and a handful of apprentices, and we're looking for, I said sponsors. We're looking for more employer partners. Again, we'll do the work as a sponsor. We need employers out there that want to build an IT workforce, want to join our apprenticeship. We'll run it, we'll teach it. You guys train them on the job. And the best part right now for the next 2 years with my state apprenticeship expansion grant, I can provide this service for free. So if anyone has an IT shop connected to their business that would like to add an IT apprenticeship, have them connect with me and I can talk to them about the opportunities and what it would take to go through it. And anyone out there, please stop me if there's a question along the way here.
Nothing in the chat box just yet.
I do have a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Nate Dutton, Juneau School District. What would it look like, for example, we have an IT department in the Juneau School District, and they are hurting for employees. And so what would it look like for a school district to be able to partner with you guys to provide that training and receiving, and our employees receiving the training, our students that could become employees to receive that type of training in an IT apprenticeship?
Yeah, we absolutely could work together on that, Nate. My first employer partner was a hospital out in the YK Delta. So working with you all, that would be fantastic. In fact, one of our consistent partners with doing some pre-apprenticeship training has been the Anchorage School District. And that's been the desire too, is that those students that come and take A+, for example, which is the first part of the training, would then go work for that Anchorage School District and, become apprentices and complete the training. So, do you have my contact information? If not, I can drop in the chat when I'm done.
Yeah, if you just drop in the chat, I'd appreciate it, and we can start a conversation. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Was there another question out there on the IT apprenticeship?
Nothing in the chat box.
So moving on, this is not necessarily an apprenticeship, but it's the build up to an apprenticeship, which will be my next slide. We have a residential and building maintenance course. It's a 6-week training course. You know, it's extractions from some of our full length training programs like electrical, plumbing, and construction to help develop someone with just enough of those skill sets to be an entry-level maintenance worker. We started by building this course, working with a couple of major employers around the state, like Widener Apartment Homes, that employs this very type of worker. And it's been a very popular course. We're currently running our getting ready to start running our third round of it. We started last fall, filled the class, very successful outcome. Ran it again in the spring, and now we're running it again this fall, and plan to run it every fall and spring annually. Course basics cover wall repairs, you know, drywall repair, patching and painting, doors, hardware, common, you know, door jamb repair, stuff that you see in a potential, you know, like an apartment or school or even a basic residence. Basic electrical repair, troubleshoot and replace electrical devices, and also know, like, I'm not an electrician with my 1.5 weeks of training in this class, so I know where my ceiling of work is and where it's time to call a professional electrician. Same goes for plumbing, basic troubleshoot and repair, know how to fix a leaky faucet, a leaky, you know, P-trap under your sink, but then also know when it's time to call a professional in. And then finally, appliance repair. And this appliance repair has been a really popular section. We've partnered with Reliable Appliance from Anchorage that has a 1-week appliance repair training program, and they cover all of your common appliances you would see in a house or for example, a school or you know, any housing situation. And again, this troubleshoot and repair piece, it helps them with all of the other components of maintenance and repair. You know, I'm getting more time on a multimeter. I'm learning how to read manuals, you know, reading for detail, all those good things. So that's been a nice component to the class. Again, this class runs annually. Tuition and fees, $34.75. Room and board, if you do require room and board, $25.56. And a basic light set of hand tools, I think it's around $400 will be required for the students to purchase that they walk away with when they're done. And again, this has been a successful class, and it's becoming the boilerplate for RTI for the residential and building maintenance apprenticeship. So this is in the works right now. I'll start with my end here. We are currently seeking employer input and partnership. I know this is a statewide need from talking from employers from hospitals, school districts, lodges, hotels, you name it, someone that has to do maintenance on residential buildings or commercial buildings. We need trained maintenance men, and we need specifically trained maintenance folks that are have an eye to preventative maintenance and, you know, heading off these issues that are major catastrophes instead of, you know, just a simple oil change on a generator, for example. So the focus of this apprenticeship is it's a 3-year apprenticeship. The first year of RTI would be that level 1, that residential and building maintenance class that I described on the previous slide. Year 2 content would cover kind of level 2 of those skills, you know, level 2 carpentry, level 2 plumbing, level 2 electrical. And then year 3 will shift where it's almost like electives. People will get to choose a focus area. So for example, if I'm in rural Alaska and I work for a school and we do water treatment, part of my year 3 RTI would be water operator training, and try to get those folks through the water operator 2 certification so they can run their water plants. And, you know, for example, in an urban setting, maybe I'm a maintenance man for a hospital and I focus on a HVAC or even a refrigeration focus because, you know, we have a bunch of refrigerant that we have to deal with on the day-to-day. So the idea is this is a true statewide apprenticeship where, you know, the boilerplate in the year 2 covers all those general things that we're all going to do in our various buildings that we're doing maintenance in, but then also can focus on those regional needs. Also planning on using all NCCR training up until we get to some of those specific things like water operator, because we have training partners around the state that also use NCCR. NCCR works really good as it's already a way of vetting instructors. And I know that if I'm teaching, you know, the drywall module in NCCR in Seward, that if I have a trainer that's out in Bethel or in Kotzebue, they're also using the exact same training because they're using the NCCR drywall training module. Again, yeah, so that's the focus, is a statewide apprenticeship, seeking for employer partners right now. And input, I would like to have my spring residential and building maintenance class be the first cohort for year 1 residential building maintenance apprenticeship. And as discussed, there's lots to do in building an apprenticeship, but we've got a lot of the groundwork already done, and we're just tying up the loose ends on the exact components of those training modules and of that on-the-job learning. And in the very bottom of my slide, if you'll notice in red, this will be initially supported by the SAEEI grant, the same grant that I mentioned that's supporting my IT apprenticeship. So for the first 2 years, at least, there would be a no cost to employers for joining this apprenticeship. Any questions on this? Okay. Coming soon, managed apprenticeship services. So we gave the example of the single employer sponsor, the mom and pop plumbing shop, right? One of the things that is sometimes difficult for them to find time for, because they're focused on plumbing, is doing the paperwork associated with being a single employer sponsor. I talked about this last year, and it was still we're still putting the final pieces into place for this apprenticeship management software that we're going to use internally for our own apprenticeship services, but then offer it up as an external service to single employer sponsors that want help with all the aspects of paperwork with running their apprenticeship. This should be up and running by the 1st of the year, and I will be advertising what we can do to help folks out. And, you know, again, like we were talking earlier, someone looking at what it's going to take to start an apprenticeship. I'd like to be able to help offer some of the help for some of the things that aren't necessarily the easiest to do. Again, if I'm a small plumbing shop and I'm focused on doing plumbing and training my plumbers, we'll take the paperwork on for you. And then just a real quick topics that are related to, but not necessarily apprenticeship. Currently is we do pop-up trainings where we can come to you or you can come to us and you can do custom training for us. Current topics, like we mentioned, we've got this construction maintenance. We can also do customized ones of, say, hey, I want 1 week of, you know, basic framing, because we're going to start doing some basic framing in one of our rural communities. We can do a custom training for whatever your needs are in that. Vessel maintenance, that is an ongoing rebuild. We will be doing some Yamaha outboard training this spring. Flyer for that to come very soon for enrollment. And then also a variety of topics, composites, vessel welding, vessel electrical, and vessel electronics will be coming next fall. And again, this is small to medium boats, not large ships, but, you know, think of like your 30-foot or maybe your 40-foot and under, small to medium boatyard type work. And then also we have a variety of business office technology topics. There's 6 of them, entrepreneurship, leadership, accounting, and a number of other things that are ready to be taught in a hybrid approach. Our instructor set it up so that the content is on Moodle, which is a learning management system, with the intent that an instructor would start the training in person. And then if there wasn't enough time, like say we were given a week to do the training, we could launch it and then follow up with a live Zoom model afterward. So start the cohort together and then follow up in an online fashion. And then finally, a good thing for those of you to know that work with high school students is we do have our senior year to career program. For students that are not yet 18 and they're in their senior year and they've completed all their graduation requirements for the school district and they really want to jump into AVTEC, we do have a opportunity for them to just basically sign some paperwork, a permission form within their application process to enroll in one of our programs. We've had a number of students do this in the past couple of years, some local and some not local. And some are just students that haven't turned 18 yet. So that's a good opportunity for those of you that work with high school students. And again, we have customized training available. If you're looking for something specific that you think is related to any of the training that you know we do, contact me and I can work with you, or I can put you in touch with one of our subject matter experts that might be able to develop a training topic that fits your organization's needs. And that's everything for me. Does anybody have any questions? And I'm going to put the link to my slides that I'll have other links as well within them in the chat here.
We have a comment from Noel that it would be good to provide flyers to the tribal council for training opportunities. D. Davis is asking, is there funding available to enroll?
So AVTEC, like I mentioned at the beginning with our accreditation, all of your typical funding sources are available that one would use for going to, you know, for your college or any other training programs, post-secondary training programs, as well as I always would turn anyone that's coming from an area with a regional tribal corp to turn to them for funding opportunities. The majority of our students do not, and I say the vast majority, do not pay for their cost of going to AVTEC with total out of pocket. They've got funding sources, and we do have a funding specialist that also helps work with students when they contact us. I'm just reading through the slide, through the questions too. If you have a question about that senior year to career, you can go to our website to find information on that as well. It's really pretty straightforward. It's an extra piece to the application process. And I'm going to put my contact information in the chat here as well.
And also we'll hear from Director Kathy Lecomte on the last week of the ACAC training. So she will go over the application process, I'm sure, and the financial aid process in detail. But I did share this website for AVTEC in the chat box. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate your time today. So you did share your email address, okay? I did.
See that in there.
Perfect.
Excellent. Sentence correctly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so my contact's in there if anyone would like to ask me about anything I mentioned or anything else that we can do with AVTEC. Please reach out.
Thank you so much, Colin. I appreciate you again. So many exciting things, initiatives happening at AVTEC. I will go ahead and stop the recording.